Barefoot, coffee in hand, I was just standing on my porch enjoying the canyon quiet when a white SUV booted up my gravel like it owned the sunrise. 3 men spilled out in matching pale blue shirts, one of them clutching a fat yellow envelope like it was the deed to my life. Yeah, that happened, and in 1 hour they told me I had to leave my own house. Let me back up a sec. Saturday mornings in the canyon are supposed to feel like peace, the kind you cough into and taste for the rest of the week. 6 acres of scrub pine and rock outcrops, exactly what I'd paid for, exactly what I intended to keep. I'd just finished watering the wildflowers along the fence, the air smelling like hot dirt and coffee, when the Tahoe rolled in and the scene changed. They look official from a distance, logos stitched above the pocket, polite smiles, but the polite ones carry the sharpest edges. Lucas Crane, the man with the envelope said, no wiggle room in his voice. I took the paper, opened it, read the title, Notification of Immediate Housing Reallocation Due to Mental Incapacitation. I blinked, then read it again, like maybe my brain would catch up. They said it was based on complaints, a third-party psychiatric review, emergency protocol under Section 12B, the whole theatrical script. They gave me 1 hour to vacate. No court order attached, no judge's stamp, but a doctor's name signed at the bottom, Dr. Hugh Collin. Except Dr. Collin had been dead 3 years. I knew his handwriting, I knew the date of his funeral. This was a ghost signature. Forged, obvious if you knew anything about death. I folded the sheet, slid it into my back pocket, and asked where the court order was. That's when I saw her, Karen Essling, cardigan, Botox smile, the kind of woman who sweats charm and smells like someone else's money. She materialized behind them like a queen arriving to collect tribute. This is administrative, she said, all sugar and steel. Community safety. She listed neighbor complaints. Curtains closed in daylight, yelling at unknown hours. Yelling? Oh, you mean when I told the landscapers to. You know what I mean. The whole thing had the stink of something rehearsed, not a single honest breath. I told them forging medical documents is a felony. Karen's eyes pinched. We're not the enemy here, she said. We only want safety. The men in shirts shifted, and the Tahoe idled, engine low like it was waiting for the show to finish. I did the careful thing. I called the sheriff. I recorded everything, phone, porch cam, the men on my gravel. If they wanted to build a case that I was unstable, I would build one showing them for what they were. Trespassers with a yellow envelope. They left with a thin-lipped warning. We'll give you until noon, and a parting shot from Karen as she rolled down the window. Denial is a symptom, too. I stood on the porch, sun on my neck, and felt the first tiny pulse of a plan. Inside I locked the doors, pulled the external drive from my security system, started copying footage, getting ready. Fight mode doesn't always look like a movie. Sometimes it's slow, methodical, like a knife sharpening. I called Amy, my lawyer, and in 2 rings she was there. Hugh Collin, she said, dry as packing tape. The one who died in 2020? Are you serious? Yeah. Apparently, he was consulting from the other side. Marcy from down the road swung by with a worried smile and a printout from the neighborhood page where someone, admin Karen of course, had posted a cropped freeze frame from my porch cam and a caption calling me mentally unstable. Neighbors were asking if I'd been removed yet. I laughed, short and bitter, then shut the door and started a war room. I registered a domain, posted deeds and surveys, uploaded the uncut video and captioned it. Here's what actually happened. I also found the psychiatry licensing guy I knew, Doug Myers, and sent him the forged sheet. He confirmed what I already knew. Any document bearing Hugh Collins' signature after March 2020 was suspect. He promised a memo. Then the smear wave hit other places. My deliveries suspended, vendors flagging my property as unstable occupant zone. A chalked, "You are not safe," on my mailbox post. A drone started humming outside my bedroom window one morning, a Hornet with a camera, bobbing 10 feet from the glass like it wanted my breath on record. I logged the time, grabbed the footage, filed a complaint with the FAA. I called Amy. They're escalating, I said. She groaned. Do they think we're in a Netflix trailer? We filed a motion for discovery. If they refused to hand over the psychiatric documentation, we'd subpoena it. I pushed every legal lever I had piece by piece, like stacking lead into armor. Meanwhile, anonymous emails and doctored videos appeared, fake witness statements, screenshots twisted into proof. It looked like a textbook strategy: smear, isolate, then seize, the sort of thing you'd read about in elder guardianship horror stories, not live through. The twist came in the middle. The person nobody expected, an ex-HOA worker with a conscience. A burner email landed in my inbox with a line, "You're not crazy, and I can prove they're faking everything." Attached was a PDF, internal emails discussing Dr. Collins' report. They spelled the dead man's name wrong. Lines about keeping it internal, notes about get the house back on the market by spring. Metadata matched Karen's account. The document was gold. The anonymous sender turned out to be a former employee who said he'd been fired after asking too many questions. He handed me names, more emails, a developer contact with a checkbook. Suddenly, motive had teeth. With those emails, this stopped looking like neighborhood drama and started looking like conspiracy. Amy and I filed criminal charges: fraud, forgery, interference with property. I called a journalist I knew, Belle Roses, who'd written about HOA overreach before. She picked up. "Lucas, this is big," she said. "I'm on it." Within a couple of days, we had a reporter on site, camera crews, and static in the neighborhood like quicksilver. Court came fast, and the judge, Rivas, no nonsense, the sort who makes people feel small when they try to lie, listened while Karen's lawyer used velvet words about community safety and credible concerns. Amy slid evidence across the table: the licensing board's memo, email forensics, the murdered doctor's death certificate, and the internal messages showing intent. The judge looked over his glasses, slow and precise, and asked the question that landed like a hammer. "Did you personally authorize the psychiatric report?" Karen tried to dance. The emails forced a trapdoor beneath her. The court granted an injunction, suspended HOA actions, and referred the case to the DA. That should have been the end of their parade, but when cornered, people doubled down. The retaliation came quicker and meaner. Anonymous notices taped to my gate, sheriff wellness checks based on reports of shouting at imaginary people, staged photos, a campaign to make me radioactive in my own town. Yet every pushback only handed me more evidence. A county health inspector, Calvin Brewer, visited after someone filed an environmental complaint. He found nothing. When Karen waved at him from a black SUV, he didn't wave back. A man who'd been part of the HOA's dirty work showed up in the courthouse hallway and handed me more emails and names. A developer with a checkbook interested in my view. The motive became stark: sell the house, cover a budget shortfall, profit off eviction. The media did what it could. Sam Fields from KUTV ran a segment. The story spread. Boards resigned, 2 members vanished overnight. County records showed no legitimate psychiatric filings. The sheriff's office launched a formal inquiry. The HOA's assets were frozen. Karen, still wearing pearls in the booking photo, didn't go quietly. She kept claiming misunderstandings, then, under oath, admitted that they'd been trying to resell my property to cover their finances. That admission, plain, stupid, an accidental confession, cleared the fog. When the prosecutors laid out the receipts, wire transfers, shell companies, forged signatures lifted from old licensing docs, the case collapsed under its own weight. 2 other homeowners came forward, elderly people pushed out by similar tactics. One had died in a facility she'd been forced into. The jury didn't need long. Guilty, with sentences that made headlines. The HOA was dissolved, trustees appointed, assets frozen. Karen and the board members were convicted. The morning after the verdict, I walked to my gate and ripped down every scrap they'd ever taped to it. I repainted the post, fixed the latch, and bolted a new plaque to the stone arch. "This property is protected not just by law, but by truth." I didn't do it for drama. I did it because sometimes you have to mark the land that held you and remind the world what the truth looks like. Afterward, there were invitations, advocacy groups, journalists, neighbors who wanted to tell their stories. A national HOA watchdog asked me to consult, to help others spot the warning signs. I thought about that a long time. Some battles you walk through, not away from. You collect the wreckage, build a map, and tell people where the traps were buried. And here's the part that sticks with me. We live in a place designed to protect property, but the very system meant to shield people became the weapon used against them. When institutions created to keep us safe are hijacked by people chasing profit or power, who protects the people from the protectors? If you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Run and sell, or stay and fight? Tell me where you stand on justice and right and wrong. And if you've ever been edged out by an abuse of power, share your story. Drop a comment, and if this resonated, share it, because somewhere out there, someone might be living next to a Karen, and they deserve to see the warning signs.